Hello! Well, in this episode of Finno-Ugric Machining, we are not doing machining, we are talking about copyright issues and how to avoid them. If you are a person who is trying to circumvent copyright claims when using copyrighted material, this is not your video, so please go away. Okay, first thing, I have here a nice little list. As you can see, it's very long, so this is going to take some time. I'm not going to be responsible if you are going to get copyright strikes after watching this video and doing things as I suggested to do them. Yeah. But that all being said, let's start. So the first thing is, what is a copyright? Well, I read directly from my paper. It's ownership of the intellectual ownership to the work. Okay. That includes graphic, video, sound, music, but it doesn't include concept. For example, if you make a video where you show how to nicely empty a bottle by rolling it and then turning it upside down and it empties very quickly, that's a concept, and you cannot copyright that concept, but the presentation you made out of it, that is copyrighted. So everybody can after that do this emptying a bottle, and they are not infringing your copyright. But if they take part of your video and show how to do this, and then then it's a copyright issue right after that. Yeah, okay. So, the very basic principle how to avoid copyright issues is to, now I read here again, creators should only upload material that they have made or that they are authorized to use. The first part is really clear. If you make something yourself, then you are most likely not going to have any copyright issues. And if you use material that is probably copyrighted, then you are going to have some issues with copyrights. Okay. The simplest part here is the video itself, the footage. It's easy to say, yeah. It's a video about something, and that's it. It's you already have shooted it yourself, and then you are like the owner of that video. That's very clear. Pictures, you take pictures. Those are also your property. Yeah, and then sounds that are not music, but for example, I have once used a track with the ocean, the waves of the ocean. That was some sounds of that, and I got a copyright, an audio copyright out of that. I run into issue. I had to delete the video and redo that part. Yeah, that is so. Yeah, then for the more complicated part, music. Well, everybody wants, not everybody, but quite often you want to enhance the atmosphere of your music, your video, by adding music to it. The music can be divided into two parts. First, there is the performance, and then there is the composition. Composition are the notes and probably a sheet where you have the notes in, and then you have the performance. Well, that's the actual playing of the music, when the artist plays the music, or the group or the band plays the music, and then you have the music. Yeah, so you have to understand the difference between those two. So the composition and the performance. And then we have some misconceptions about these copyright issues. For example, if you have a audio track and you only use part of it, it's still copyrighted. And if you somehow enhance it, add an echo or something like that, it is still copyrighted. Actually, the music track needs to be rendered beyond recognition in order to avoid copyright issues with it. Well, from now on I'm going to focus on music because this is the source of copyright issues which you can do something about. Copyrights expire. There are certain rules and they are country specific, those rules. Every country seems to have their own set of laws about copyrights. So some countries are really strict, like Japan, and then some countries are not that strict, like USA. So, but if you want to make your video globally public, you have to obey the most strict copyright laws there is. Otherwise you might end up having copyright issues. That's the case here. So, as I said, those copyrights expire. The composition expires. The copyright for composition expires. Well, the safe bet here is that it expires 100 years after the composer died. So, the composer must have been 6 feet under for more than 100 years. Then we have those anonymous compositions where you really don't know who has composed them. Then it's a gray area. But a safe bet here is that they expire 120 years after the first publication of this composition. So it's even stricter than when you know the composer. So be very careful with folk music. It can really hurt you. The performance itself, actually, they expire in 100 years after the composer died. Or if you have more than one composer, like a band, then it's from the death of the last member, the last survivor. Yeah. Yeah, and then again, this when did a composer die? There is a chance of error here, so check it from multiple sources. Then I have some examples of. I don't play the examples here. There are some examples of copyrighted material. One extreme case of copyright material is, well, the name is More Than One Birds of Prey. And they have composed a tune named Hotel California. And, well, they are very, very, very strict on their copyright issues. You get a copyright strike right away if you use their material. If you use the compositions, you get a copyright strike. If you use their performance, you get a copyright strike. If you use 10 seconds of their performance, you will get a copyright strike. And this is really, don't use it. And then another example is composition composed by Johann Sebastian Bach. The composition itself is in the public domain, and it's this Bourrée in E minor. You know it. I would like to sing it here, but I'm not in the mood at the moment. So you can play it, and then you can publish a video having that music you have played. But if you use the soundtrack where Ian Anderson is playing this Bourrée, well, there is a link below. I put it there because I like this version really much. It's really nice. Then you get, of course, you will get a copyright strike out of that. So play it yourself or don't play it. And then there is this very, very gray area of fair use. Fair use is something I don't understand. What is that? Is it something like you put, it's music that is not related to your video? Well, it's in the video. So why is it fair use if you are using somebody's music on your video? It's the most used anyway, and it's the most debatable. So I don't recommend using fair use. Don't use, that's the fair use. Then, when you are choosing a composition and how to make sure it is in the public domain, it's not always very easy. So, first thing is to find out who did compose this one, who's the composer, and check for multiple sources that really the tune you are going to use is composed by that person. Then, when you know the person, the composer, then you can check whether he died more than 100 years ago. That also needs to be checked from multiple sources. Don't rely just on Wikipedia. So check from multiple places that this is really the case. Well, of course, there are certain sure cases like Johann Sebastian Bach, Mozart, Stravinsky is maybe not, I don't know. It might be that he is too young. There are some which are really certain that they died long ago. Then folk music is really hard to detect whether it is in the public domain or not. You have to find documentation in multiple places, preferably, where you can see that this was published more than 120 years ago. And this is really hard. For some folk songs it's really easy, like some Finnish folk songs which it's widely known. But in some cases it's not that easy to detect whether this is really published 120 years ago, so be careful. Now that you have found a tune that you can use, a composition that you can use, but you cannot play it. Not everybody can play piano or any instrument at all. Learn to play. That's my first recommendation. 1.5 years ago I was not able to play any instrument. I learned it, and it's really easy. It's you have learned to read, so you can learn to play as well. It's you don't need to be a virtuoso when you play. You can like pim 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 the tune, and it's okay. So yeah, you can edit it afterwards. So yeah, don't you worry. It's easy. Well, there is an. If you don't want to learn to play, there is other way. You can download MIDI files. A MIDI file is a way of making musical notation. So you download a MIDI file and then you get yourself a DAW, Digital Audio Workstation, and then you use that to convert the MIDI file into music. Well, the Windows Media Player, well, don't use that. It's really bad. So then you have made the composition into music. You have successfully played it or used the MIDI file, and then you have a tune. And what now? You include it into your video, and then you upload it, and everything is all right. Well, it's most probably not. In YouTube there is a system called Content ID. I will try to describe it now here. First of all, the performers, the bands, send a signature file to YouTube. It's a file that describes the music. It has the tune, the composition, and then it has some sort of shortened version of the music itself. And then this is stored into YouTube into some really huge database. And then you upload your video. And YouTube does the same thing. It extracts from your video, it extracts the music, and then it creates the part that describes the music, the performance, and also the composition. And then it searches the huge database with your tune, and it most usually it finds it there. First, and the most mild one is tune. It's called overplay or whatever that is. It's about that your composition is the same as somebody else's. Okay, that's one. The second one is that you have an audio match, which is quite bad actually. And then you can get the whole strike at once, like in the case of Hotel California. You get it right away. So in this case, it's better that you delete your video right away and start over. If it's a cover song, now I remembered it. If you have that type of Content ID match, and you are absolutely sure that your composition was made by Johann Sebastian Bach or Mozart or Handel or about Stravinsky, I'm not sure. Then you can do a dispute. This dispute is something that will expire in 30 days, after which the video is given a permission to use that tune. And unfortunately, quite many of those files that are coming from those artists, they have claims for the melody as well, or the composition, although the melody is in the public domain. Sometimes you get a Content ID match from an artwork from Mozart, for example. So, but the only thing you can do here is to dispute it, and it takes 30 days, and then it's over. Sometimes, even though you use non-copyright material, so public domain material, whoever made that claim, that copyright claim, may reject your dispute.
Ai ai.
But again, if you are really sure that your composition was or is in the public domain, you can do an appeal. And this appeal expires in 7 days. So, that's about it. Well, maybe one thing, when you are using those MIDI files, do not modify the tune, the artwork too much. Because if you modify it so that it's no more recognizable as the original artwork from Mozart, for example, you are going to run into issues because many artists borrow some parts of those big composers like Mozart, Bach, and so on. So you might get a copyright issue from there because it's no more a public domain composition, and it contains parts that those artists have borrowed from the earlier versions. So that's one way of, and it's a very common place that they do that. They are borrowing a lot of music from those big composers. So, well, one final advice to you, and now I read directly from the paper. Never upload material that you have not made or that you are not authorized to use. Yeah. Okay, that all being said, so hopefully you, I don't know whether you enjoyed this, but I hope that you got some nuggets here. So, till the next time, bye bye!